All right, here he is, Samuel Dweck. I guess you're the founder, right, of the new streaming service Thunderflix.
Yes, that's me.
And I guess it's brand new, right? I think it's just not even a month old, right? Just a few weeks.
Right, 3 weeks last Friday. So
3 weeks last Friday. I guess for those that are unfamiliar with it, which I'd assume would be a lot of people, as it's brand new, it's basically, I think, as you put it, the Netflix of metal.
that is right.
And by the way, thank you. I got a trial of that from the publicist, so thank you for that. I appreciate it, and it's great. And already at launch, the library at the moment still seems fairly small, but it's pretty diverse. Everything from Motley Crue to Slipknot, Death, Aerosmith, Iron Maiden. Most of the bigger acts in that world are covered with at least one thing so far. And I'm sure there's a lot more on the way.
Yeah, we have tons of content coming. We just didn't want to put all of it at once, so we don't have stuff to put on. I think what we have should keep, people entertained for, a few weeks for the diehard fans and a few months for the, regular people. And then, there's a lot of stuff on the pipeline. So we're very excited with the launch and everything that's coming soon.
Now, from a financial standpoint, do you think that a lot of the subscribers, potential subscribers, could come from some of the more, underground acts like Watain and Death and all that kind of stuff? Because, when you look at bands like Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, whatever, massive fan bases, but a lot more, casual because they're on the radio. And then when you take bands like Death, for example, very underground, and so the fan bases are a lot smaller, but a majority of those fans are hardcore diehards and kind of want to sink their teeth into anything related to that.
Yeah. I mean, for example, if I'm on the street and I see someone wearing an Aerosmith t-shirt, I'm not going to tell them, go subscribe to Thunderflix. But if I see someone with a Death shirt or Watain, I'm going to say, oi, look at this service. Because, we're metalheads. We understand where things are. But we also, I grew up listening to Aerosmith, so I enjoy watching a good show from them.
Sure.
So there's a lot of content, and it's coming from everywhere. So as you mentioned, from Slipknot to Evanescence to Iron Maiden, and then we are in talks with a lot of the labels like Century Media and AFM and Nuclear Blast and Metal Blade, and we want all the content. So in a few months or years, at some point, it's going to be a library like Spotify where you can pretty much hit the name of an artist and it'll be there. So, and everything needs to be official and licensed, and we want to make sure that we have the blessing. We're not YouTube. We're not going to put stuff. We're not going to shower you with advertising because we're a subscription-based service, and I think we're not charging a lot, but I guess people don't care to pay $6.66 on a coffee. But then when it's about a subscription, it's either you pay or you don't pay, right? And I think people will, we have a lot of subscribers, which is fantastic. But I guess more people will come once again the library starts showing up, and also we get the voice out and let the people know that we exist. And so, yeah, we're doing the devil's work here.
Is there ever any sort of concern that, with given how dedicated and rabid the metalheads are, that, anyone who's wanted to watch these documentaries or concerts, that they've already seen them or own them, like a physical copy? Has that ever been like a concern? Since this is so much more, more specific than something like, Netflix or Hulu or Peacock or whatever?
Right. So I put myself as a fan, and I have plenty of DVDs, right? However, when I'm maybe in a different room where my DVD player is, I can't watch them. Or if I'm traveling, I can't watch them.
Sure.
So I don't, I really appreciate having everything on my iPad or on my phone, that for $6.66 I can watch it anytime. And then once more films come, it's going to be, right now I have more on Thunderflix than I have physical, because I may have like 30 or 40 DVDs, but now we have around 100 films on Thunderflix, and there's plenty of concerts and stuff, and I know more stuff is coming on. So I think having a digital having it available all the time and knowing that more stuff is coming, that's many major pluses for me as a fan.
Sure. Well, and one thing that I find really interesting, that in the press release, you mentioned wanting to add things like, when you would buy like a limited edition or deluxe edition of an album, and it would come with a bonus DVD. Wanting to add things like that where you couldn't just, when they would sell these DVDs, you couldn't go buy it. You had to buy the CD and all that. And I think that's great because even on a regular concert DVD, some of the best parts, in my opinion, were the behind the scenes stuff, or maybe it was a bonus, whatever it was, that wasn't included with the main thing. And sometimes I found those more interesting than the actual concert itself. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. I'm agreed. There's so many CDs we bought and with all these bonus features. So, and those CDs, they are not longer for sale, and the DVDs are not being sold. So, yeah, I actually this morning I had a meeting with one of the big labels exactly like that. They're saying, Netflix is not going to put our content, and YouTube doesn't pay, or it pays whoever person uploaded it, and I don't think they get paid because then the distributor says, oh, this is not published correctly, so no one gets paid. Whereas on Thunderflix, everyone is getting paid, and it's a good place to have everything on a library, right?
Now, what about, I've had a few days to check it out. Some of the things that are already on there, is there plans to add like the special features from the original DVD that they come from?
Like, for example, we got the Slipknot and we added the documentary it came with. But I don't know if there's other ones that we're missing. We're trying to get all of it, but maybe, some of them are not going to be either so easy to get or complicated. But is there one in particular that you thought was needed?
No, I was just kind of browsing around, and the only other thing was, I thought it would be interesting if there was a track selection feature too, where you could bounce around to different songs, but that might be too, you want people to kind of watch the full thing though.
Yeah, but I'm not opposed to that. If someone wants to do that and then maybe do a playlist of their videos and have a concert of, a song from Pantera and then a song from Metallica and a song from Iron Maiden, and then just do, your playlist. That's something in the future. I don't see why not. At the moment, we want to differentiate ourselves from YouTube, make sure people know that what you're watching on Thunderflix, it's the official video that came out as it was intended to be released by the band, with the blessing of the band and the label. And we're not putting music videos. We're like the hit single or whatnot. It's just the full concert or the full film or the full documentary.
I want to talk a little bit about your background prior to getting into film, which I want to get into in a minute. But I believe you worked briefly in the music industry for a little bit, right? And Nike as well, I think I saw.
Very briefly, yes. I think that was my first job. I worked for Sony Music.
What were you doing over there?
I was being the assistant of PR.
Oh, okay.
So when Korn came to town, I picked them up. I took them to radio stations, and we did, we took them to the music channels there. And I took Steve Vai and Joe Satriani.
Oh, wow.
They were showing how to do vibrato in the guitar in backstage. So I cherish those memories. They used to pay me in CDs, really, because I was just like an intern. And but I was there for like a year and a half, and I got great exposure to the music world and met a lot of musicians, and I got paid on CDs, so that was great. And yeah, then I left, and when I came back, I really liked what Nike was doing with event marketing, with the World Cup. I don't know if you remember. I don't know how old you are, but in 2002. They did an amazing campaign about getting all the best soccer players in the world and putting them in a secret boat. And it was like they had like an Elvis Presley song doing a tournament. And the tournament was real in many countries. They made soccer tournaments. So it was like the best marketing campaign I've ever saw. So I wanted to work for Nike. So I worked for Nike for like a few years. And then, yeah, then I started my own thing for many, many years in the film industry, and then to this.
Yeah, you have the you're the founder and director of the what I think it's the Hola Mexican Film Festival, right? Which that plays in what LA and Australia, I think, and it's a pretty big event, right? I admittedly did not was not familiar until we scheduled this, but it looks like about like 10,000 people show up every time, and it's
Yeah, it's pretty big.
some films
We
make their premiere there, and it's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, I mean, we organized this thing this year. It's our 15th anniversary, so we do it in like 4 different theaters, and it's the largest Mexican film event outside Mexico. We have 30 filmmakers come to Los Angeles for this. We have big sponsors like Toyota and Dish Latino and Herradura Tequila and Delta Airlines, and it's a big thing. But it's work. It's not my love and my passion. My heart has been black in metal since I'm like 7 years old. So Thunderflix is what I want to do with my life. So, I mean, I'll continue doing the Mexican Film Festival as long as I can, but I'm very happy to put my heart and passion into what I love, which is metal. And that's, yeah.
Well, I'm curious, how do you go from working at Nike to deciding to get into film? That's a pretty big difference there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I was working at Nike, I mean, I have to mention that Australia has a big thing to play on this, because I was doing my degree while I was working at Sony, and while I was doing my degree, I really wanted to go to do an exchange program, and Australia always was rocking my boat. I'm like, I need to check Australia. So I went to Sydney, and I loved it so much that I had to go back to do my master's. And so I left Nike to do my master's in Sydney. And when I was in Sydney, I did a master's in event management because, as I said, I really liked the event and the marketing. And at some point, I thought I was going to do a music festival. But when I saw how expensive and difficult that was to do as a migrant in Australia, and I always loved film. I mean, as a metalhead, we grew up watching horror films and then Quentin Tarantino, and I really got into the art house cinema thing. And in 2006, I saw that Mexico had a big thing at the Oscars because they had the Three Amigos, Iñárritu, Cuarón, Del Toro. I'm sure every metalhead knows who Guillermo del Toro is.
Of course.
So I said, why don't we do a Mexican film festival and display all this amazing Mexican cinema? So I started a Mexican film festival, and it was amazing. Everyone was in love with Mexican cinema. And so I started doing that. And then I came to USA on vacation from Australia, and I saw that there wasn't a Mexican film festival, yet we have around 30 million Mexicans in USA. So I'm like, okay, we need to do the Mexican Film Festival here in USA. So we started doing that, and then it blew up. So that's how I went from Nike to doing my master's in event management to doing Mexican cinema, Mexican Film Festival.
Well, and I would imagine, having that background in film sort of helped you get Thunderflix off the ground, and
100%.
I'm sure it's got to be a very grueling process obtaining the rights for everything and all that kind of stuff. And from what I understand, Thunderflix is a pretty small team of people at the moment right now, right?
Yeah. There's marketing, me, PR, and it's the do-it-yourself generation. But we have a lot of people doing different things at the same time, I suppose. But we'll see. As you said, it's 3 weeks old. Maybe next time we interview, we'll be in an office in London or here or
sure,
with like people behind us doing work. But for now, Well,
when you're starting a brand new streaming service, how do you sort of rise above being, just another streaming service and another monthly subscription for people to pay? Is it obviously the price is small? It's a very fitting price. It's $6.66 a month. Very fitting. But, with everything these days being subscription based, of course, Thunderflix is offering something different, but it's got to be a little difficult to, one, just get people to hear about it, and then two, get them to make the commitment to pay.
Of course. Well, look, there's no other subscription service on video for heavy metals. So that's, the main thing. We're doing something that doesn't exist out there. If someone wants to, watch or have a digital collection of, their Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff on metal, then, I think that's how, that's our differentiation. And again, where I think we're doing great things in order to convince these metalheads that we are a subscription to keep, right? Like a magazine had to do it in order to subscribe and stay with the magazine, and Spotify does it. People pay
Absolutely.
their Spotify every month, so we need to do that. And we, at some point, we're going to do our own content, and we're already thinking of a few documentaries we want to produce. So then we can do our own films as well. There's a lot of things we have in mind, and we want to be able to stream live festivals from around the world. So if we provide that to the fans, we provide the value. I think the fans will come back and give us their, the subscription.
No, I would agree 100%. And I guess, there's not really any competition other than, I think it's, Quello, I think, which is similar with the concerts, but of course it's all of music. It's not really geared towards anything. And I think especially when it comes to, maybe they'll have some crossover like, Aerosmith or something, for example. But when it comes to the more underground stuff, I guess they don't really get into that world too much.
They won't be watching Watain or.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Obsequiae, which is an amazing band from a small label called 20 Bucks Spin. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure metalheads know who they are and the label. Yet it's been very hard. Maybe if they see this interview, they could say, okay, here's our video. But it's funny. Bigger labels are acting quicker than the smaller ones. I don't know why. Oh, wow.
No kidding. That's surprising.
Yeah, there you go. We have Slipknot and Evanescence and Aerosmith, yet to get Windfarer or Obsequiae or Soen, it's a bit more, it's harder. I'm like, dudes, come on.
Yeah, opportunities like this have never really existed for some of the bands like that, So you would think they would jump right on it.
You would think.
Well, I guess you already answered my last question. I was going to ask if there was any plans for some original content, which I guess there are. So that's exciting. Anything coming, within the next few months on the original front?
On the original front in the next few months, I don't think so. It'll be more like a year because, as I said, we're just starting, and original stuff, ask Netflix. If they want to do a film, it's going to take them at the very least 6 months, right? Or to a year. So,
sure.
But we want to do maybe in less than a year, but I because we're already in talks and conversations with people. But yeah, I'd say at least a year for original content. But we have plenty of stuff coming in the next few weeks. And then hopefully this summer, by August, July, we'll be able to stream a few big festivals from Europe and maybe one from USA. So I'm excited about that.
That would be incredible. Well, Samuel, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate spreading the word of Thunderflix to metalheads around the world.
Of course. Make sure you subscribe to Thunderflix. It's only $6.66. So check it out. And I think you can even get there's a 7-day trial or something on the website, right?
No, yeah, just go to the website, check it in 7 days. If you don't like it, keep in touch with us on Thunderflix, on the Instagram or Facebook. And then when you see something you like, you can come back. Soon enough, we'll have something that everyone likes. So, yeah.